Hello, beautiful people. I hope that wherever you are in the world, that you are doing well and that you are taking care of yourselves. I'm Chris Danker, and this is Let the Adventure Begin. Let the Adventure Begin with Chris Danker podcast. Welcome to episode 146, Listen In. A lot of us, both women and men, do a really good job of taking care of other people. We take care of our friends. We are intuitive to what people need, whether it's our family, it could be a sibling, a cousin, a child, a partner, like I said, friends, and we can really hone in on what other people need. But a lot of times we're not so great at doing that for ourselves. So in this episode, I want to invite you to listen in. Listen into the needs that you have for yourself. And I know that can be really hard for a lot of us to define in what we need. And yet, we need to take the time to do that. And I'm not talking about like a massive amounts of time where you have a full day where you can treat yourself to some kind of retreat and do all the things that are self-care related. I'm talking about things that you can do where you can steal maybe 5 or 10 minutes to yourself in a day. And I know that sounds crazy even saying that. Believe me, I've been there, done that. My children are adults. They're 34 and 31. And many times my husband and I will look back and go, how did we do it all? And I really think that there were times that it was because we listened in. Sometimes my husband needed a break. And he needed to be able to do something on his own, something that he enjoyed, whether that would be playing a round of golf. Yes, I know, much longer than 5 or 10 minutes. Or going for a bike ride. Or just simply calling and talking to a friend. And likewise, he could tell when I needed a bit of a break. And I'm not even talking, parenting, that's a full-time job. And it's a full-time, and I really hate to call it a job because when you decide to become a parent, you are taking responsibility for a tiny human even into their adult years. And you do it because you love it. However, there are times when you need a little bit of a break, and it's not because of the kids, it's because of all the other stuff that is also going on in our lives with maybe an outside the home job. And maybe we are caring for sick family members, or we're running errands for others, or maybe we're volunteering our time. And so when we get too much, we can become overwhelmed. And I'm very fortunate that I have a partner who would be able to be pretty intuitive and could tell when I needed a break, when I needed to maybe just close myself away and be able to read a book, or go out for coffee with a friend, or just even to go for a walk in a nearby park. And like I said, I consider myself very fortunate, and I would hope that my husband would say the same, that when we were in the thick of it, that we could give each other a break. And even think about your own kids. We need to listen in to their needs as well. When do they need not a time out as like a consequence, but a time out that they're overwhelmed by all the stimuli in their own lives, and what do they need? So I want you to still, while I've said all of these things, I want you to kind of come back to yourself in listening in to what you need. And like I said, that can be really tricky to do because a lot of times we'll say, I don't know what I need. And many times it starts with, what are things that you like to do? What are things that you enjoy? That if you had 5 to 10 minutes, what might be something that you would want to do? And some of us might just be, I'd like to be able to take a shower without a toddler coming in and asking me a question, or even a teenager yelling a question through the door. Yeah, that counts. Maybe it is going for that walk. Maybe it's taking a yoga class, or if you're like, hey man, I don't have time for a yoga class, maybe it's finding on YouTube someone who does yoga. Great suggestion. I'll link it in the show notes. Yoga with Adriene. She's amazing. I know there are a lot of others out there as well, but she would be a fantastic starting point. To just find a short, just gentle stretching yoga, beginning yoga routine that would just be relaxing. I also think a way to kind of start the kind of idea or the thought process in making a list of things that you enjoy doing is also thinking about things that you need to give yourself a rest for. One of the best things I ever gave myself was when I started meditating. And I started dabbling in it in 2015. And it was because the school district I was in, we could get a free year subscription to Headspace. And I really enjoyed Headspace, but then I drifted over to Calm, the Calm app. And I've been there ever since, probably late 2015, 2016. So almost 10 years. And I really wish I would have started it sooner, because it has made me a more calm person and probably a better listener. And a lot of times when we think meditation, we're thinking about I'm supposed to empty my head of all thoughts. And that's just not realistic. What I do with the Calm app is a 10-minute guided meditation every morning that focuses on the breath. Sometimes it focuses on a body scan, but there's always a theme or a message. And I also, and I've mentioned this podcast before, it's Love Your Calm Mini Meditations with Hannah Castillo. And again, I'll link that in the show notes, that podcast in the show notes as well. Hannah does a 7 to 8 mini meditation each week. She has 48 of them banked now in her podcast. She's done it for 48 straight weeks. And she is a great person to listen to because she has such a beautiful, calming voice. Again, she focuses on a theme, and many times it will be a theme that a listener has suggested to her. And so she is a great one for a starting point. And, when you're talking podcasts, hey, we're free, man. And so, if you don't want to spend some money on an app like Headspace or Calm, and you're like, hey, I just need to figure out even if I like meditation, Hannah is a great starting point. And like I said, with 48 of them, you could do one a day for 48 straight days and start them over again. Like the one that she just dropped for this week is on anxiety. And so, like I said, she picks a lot of topics that are really important that either readers have suggested or that she makes them relevant to what's going on in people's lives today. So definitely give her a listen. And so, I want you to really think about listening into what do you need? And like I said, it might be making a list of things that you either enjoy doing or that you would like to maybe have the not doing. Again, I was thinking of another idea is to just sitting outside in the evening for a few minutes, drinking a cup of hot tea or a glass of water, and simply look up at the sky. Look up at the night sky. listen to whatever sounds are going on around you. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be for a long period of time. Giving yourself even 5 minutes will just do wonders for you. And like I said, when we do a better job of listening in to our bodies, we give ourselves what we need. And when we can fill our cup, it allows us to be a better person, not only for ourselves, but for the people around us. That's what I have for you this week. Thanks for listening in. I hope your week is going well, and until next week, let your adventure begin. Peace.